Namo Namaste Gurave Mahatmane Vimukta Sangaya Saduttamaya Nityadvayananda Rasaswarupine Bhumne Sada Paradayam Buddhamne Namo Namaste Gurave Mahatmane Vimukta Sangaya Saduttamaya Nityadvayananda Rasaswarupine Bhumne Sada Paradayam Buddhamne Namastasmai Sadaikasmai Kasmai Chinmahase Namaha Yadetad Vishwarupena Rajate Guru Rajate Yadetad Vishwarupena Rajate Guru Rajate. Hari, that's thank you, Dr. Sharina. You have already summarized the main points we discussed. The fundamental point is what is the relevance of the Upanishadic message today. And there I wanted to specially emphasize how it gives us all the strength, all the courage, all the comfort, confidence, and whatnot. And not only that, today I would like to highlight the so-called rational, I don't use the word scientific because it is more scientific than objective science. I will explain why I say so. How much rational our rishis have been, that I would like all of you to imagine. I would like all of your imagination to go back to that prehistoric time when there was hardly any civilization in the world, other places. How could the thought of these people rise to that lofty level and the ultimate level to discover the truth? And all that they recorded is available even now after this unknown period of time. Many of the architecture or whatever material things were there in that period, nothing is available. But how is it that the literature and the truth is still continuing? Very much available to us in an understandable manner. The language also goes on changing. How is it that we are able to understand this language? Forget about the Upanishads, Vedas, etc. Even Shankaracharya, who is more than 1200 years old, whatever he had composed, he had written, commented upon. It is so lucidly understandable even now. This is because of the greatness of the Sanskrit language. Who developed this language to this extent of perfection? It is amazing. We cannot think the end of it at all. Even if a little bit we can imagine, we will feel so blessed about it. So I would like to highlight some of the extremely rational thought processes they had. Before that, the Vedas, as we say, the Vedas have got two parts. One is called Karma Kanda Another is called Jnana Kanda. Most of you know about it. Karma Kanda, where the rituals, yaga, yajna, upasana, various things are discussed, acharas also, our practices, etc. And Jnana Kanda, where the knowledge is discussed. Now there is very, very distinct difference between the two. And it's very interesting to know it also. In Karma Kanda, all kinds of yaga, yajna towards the devas, we say, the gods and goddesses. Actually, what happened is that, as I said yesterday also, that whole creation is bound by the Karya Karana Sutra, that is the law of causality. If anything happens, there will be a cause behind that. And that nobody has to teach us. Because right from birth, we are seeing that everything is related by cause. Unless I have my sound, nobody is going to listen to me. So the cause is the sound, and others responding to that is the effect. If I push the table, it will move. If I pull it, it will move towards me. All these are cause and effect. Everything is cause and effect chain. So the whole world being operating on this cause and effect chain, it becomes our inherent conception that everything there will be a cause. This conception has been, this thought has come to us from seeing the world, that everywhere we find that causality is operating. So there must be a cause behind the world also. Now, in the olden days, whatever they were not able to find out the cause, like say the rain, earthquake, or say a sudden fire, and all the natural forces, natural powers, etc., lightning, they assigned a deva, god, to that. That is, any original independent power they were thinking of, they were called a god. That is why you find every god is holding some symbol, like Indra. He is the god of electricity, of light. Lightning is the astra for Indra. Now, lightning means electricity. And everywhere in our world, you will find electricity is the main thing operating and managing our life. So, Indra being the head of the gods is very important that way also. So, for water, they have a god. For day and night, they have a god. For sun, there is a sun god. For moon, there is a moon god. All the powers of nature, they were given the title of Deva. Now, this Deva is the origin of this Shabda, of this word, is from Dib Dhatu. Dib means brilliance. So whatever has its original brilliance is called Deva. Like sun, it has its original brilliance, so we call Surya Deva. Now, whatever was happening, they were not knowing the cause of it. But they understood that our existence is not isolated. We are a small speck in the entire nature. First, it is the nature available to us on earth. Then they saw the whole cosmic things also. The sun is moving, the moon is moving, the stars are moving. Many things are happening in the repetitive, periodic manner. All these observations, they gave them a feeling that we are all a connected lot. This is a very, very important thinking, that we are not isolated. Everything is related. So anything happening to us, suppose there is no rain, we may say that rain god is responsible for that. Rain god means the power which is bringing in rain. If there is an earthquake, we will say that the earth god is responsible for that. But at the same time, we will know that the whole nature is an integrated whole. And unless we respect that relationship, we will be in trouble. See, in modern times, you are now talking about environments, that is ecology. This ecology, in a much more subtler, finer, and comprehensive, wholesome sense, was there in our culture from that time, that thousands and thousands of years ago. I will take up some shlokas to show how they were concerned about the ecological balance, of the balance of the whole universe, not to speak of the earth. So they understood that we should be thinking of each other. We cannot be selfish. If our life is depending on rain, we must think that what will please the rain god. If our life is depending on sun, what will please the sun god? Now, materially, externally looking at it, you may not be able to understand what is going to please that. But they understood that in our mind, all of us are related. What minimum we can do is to show our gratitude, show our respect, show our concern for that power, whatever be that power. Our mind should be having gratitude for that power, and it should appreciate the contribution of those powers. It should be acknowledging the contribution of that power. In the Mundaka Upanishad Shanti Mantra, we will come to the Shanti Mantras, it is said that Tushtuvamsas tanubhihi Sthirairangais Tushtuvamsas tanubhir vihi vyashema devahitam yadayuhu. Sthiraihi angaihi tushtuvamsah tanubhihi vyashema devahitam yadayuhu. The ayus, we have a certain lifespan. For somebody it is less, somebody it is more. Various initial conditions of our birth and our system, our lineage, everything is dependent for determining our ayus. But it has been basically determined by nature. We have been provided a certain ayus, a lifespan, by the natural forces, the natural powers. Nobody can deny that. He is saying that sthiraihi angaihi tushtuvamsaha sthiraihi angaihi tanubhihi tushtuvamsaha devahitam yadayuhu. As long as we live with healthy arms and organs, with a healthy body, we should live that life praising you, O the Devas. The natural powers, nature, we should not be selfish in our life so that we forget the contribution of nature. The moment we step out of our house might have been built by my father, but the moment we are stepping out of the house, we are stepping on the road which is made by the society, by the administration, by our country. But generally we don't remember. We are so selfish that we don't remember how much we are dependent on the society. If somebody was not producing the clothings, would we be able to cover ourselves? If somebody was not producing the rice and the vegetable, would we have our food? But every day while taking food and satisfying our all gluttony and everything, needs, and more than the needs, the other greed and everything, we never remember that whether the person who has produced the food, is he getting food twice a day, a square meal? We are so withdrawn, so selfish. We never think about it at all. So they understood that the life is an integrated life. The whole universe is an integrated universe. Here, all the planets, all the stars, they are moving in an integrated fashion. Like that, in human society also, we are all integrated. So that consciousness of our position, our existence in the whole universe, They were very much conscious of it, which we have forgotten. This is very much apparent from all their shlokas, the mantras we have. Everywhere they're praying for purity, for expansion, for strength, for courage, so that all become happy, all become satisfied, all live their life well. The prayer is never selfish at all. It is for everybody, even for nature, even for the animals, the birds. Everywhere, everybody should be happy. This was our culture. Now, there also, in the beginning, when they were praising the natural powers and all, they had desires. We are not saying that they did not have desires. They thought, what happens when the body falls? Suddenly the causality will not go. The same causality tells us that, oh, I lived in this earth for about 70 years, 80 years, or 60 years. Suddenly one day I die. Is it the end of everything? The person who was living, will it not continue somewhere else? And that gave them the idea of heaven, hell, etc. Who will go to the heaven? Who will go to the hell? What are the conditions? Everything is causality only. That is, if you do good work, you will go to heaven. If you do bad work, you will go to hell. Is it not causality? Everywhere it is causality, because we are finding causality. So our thoughts, everything was led by this causality. So in the Karma Kanda of the Vedas, the first portion of the Vedas, you will find the yagas, yajnas, and various other anushtanas, other practices, ceremonies. Everything was desireful. That is, asking from the gods, from nature, asking for health, asking for property, asking for happiness, asking for children, asking for kingdom, asking for power, all these things. So they were full of desires. And according to that, they were praying. That is the Karma Kanda. Now, somewhere in the line, they must have started feeling that we are thinking that if our desire is fulfilled, then I will be happy. We will be happy. But looking at the world, looking at ourselves, we find that so many desires have been fulfilled, but we still remain unhappy. They looked around and came to that decision. But in the modern society, people do not have even that much of rationality. Has anybody become happy by getting anything from the world in the whole human period in the civilization? If anybody has become permanently happy, it is not by gaining anything from the world, but by discovering their own identity, their reality, the ultimate truth. Now, still we are deluded that gaining something from the world, I will become happy. So they started thinking about it deeply. That what is this happiness? How it is coming to us? Suppose I am looking for something. Say I am looking for a child. Now, when I get the child is born, I become happy. But how long? Very soon, if the child falls sick, immediately the happiness changes over into anxiety, worry, fear. Will he survive? Will he die? So many things. So what has happened to the happiness? All along I have been thinking when the child will be born, I will become happy. But after it is born, and initially we might be happy, but that happiness is taken over by anxiety, fear, worry, and so many other things. It could be something else also. After the child is born, something else may happen in the family or in the country which will make us worry. So how is it that when a desire is fulfilled, we feel happiness? They found that this desire or desire for something, or the anxiety whether I will get it or not, or the fear of even if I get, whether the king will take it away or whether I will lose it or not, these are all coming from the desire for something. Now, as long as the desire is existing in the mind the mind remains disturbed, it remains agitated. It does not allow me to become happy. You can take any example. Suppose you have gone visagently in front of an ocean. The first time in life you are seeing the vast ocean and you are so happy. Suddenly you get the news that you have lost your job or you have lost your dear one, somebody. Immediately your mind collapses. What has happened to the happiness? The sea, the ocean is still in front. That has not gone anywhere. But your mind is no longer having the happiness. What has happened to it? So the happiness is originating from the mind and it is a property of the mind. But our desires, anxiety, worries, they are not allowing us to feel that happiness. So the moment suppose you are wanting something intensely, then that intensity of that desire will see that the other small desires are gone. Say, for when you are intensely desiring something, you will forget food also. You will forget taking bath, you will forget the bodily comfort. The whole day you will be putting all your effort to get that aim, that object of your desire. So naturally the other thoughts, everything has been kept away. The worries, the fear or the uncomfortable feelings, everything has been kept away. Your mind is focused on what you are desiring for. Now, in that process, when you get that object of desire, then that desire is fulfilled. But the other desires were already kept away. So the mind becomes more peaceful and steady for a longer period of time or for some period of time, which will not happen just by fulfilling. Suppose you are a little hungry, you take food, you will not get that much of happiness because other things are already crowding your mind. So they thought that, is it really the fulfillment of the desire or is it the elimination of the desire is making me happy? They analyzed it further and they found that actually in sleep we become very happy. Every night we are going to sleep and when we get up we feel so refreshed that a few days if we cannot have deep sleep, then we feel very bad. We are not able to work throughout the day. So what is happening in sleep? It is simple. We had forgotten the world. So if the happiness lies in the world and we get happiness from the world, then how is it that when we forget the world, we become most happy? When we are extremely tormented, automatically we fall unconscious, is it not? There it is a natural valve which operates. In unconsciousness, we become happy. Otherwise, we are not able to tolerate the anxiety, worry, or the situation which is agitating us. Those who become successful in meditating properly and go into some kind of samadhi or so, they discovered the bliss in the meditation. And they find that I have never in my life I have been so happy as I had been today in my meditation. Now, should we not ask ourselves what happened in the meditation at that time when you felt the bliss? Well, we forgot the world. Until you forget the whole world. When I say forget the world, means world which includes my body, mind, personality also, my egoistic personality also. That egoistic I is the main problem there. When we forget the world, along with that we forget our individual personality also. And then we get flooded with the bliss, the ananda. So they discovered that this ananda is a natural characteristic of our soul. Normally, suppose there is a pond where there are a lot of ripples and all. You are not able to see the bottom. When all the ripples subside and the surface become absolutely peaceful, and inside also the water is clear. The clearer the water, the clearer will be the vision of the bottom. That means whenever our mind is peaceful and the mind is pure also, other desires and their remnants and all, they are not making the mind clouded. We see our soul, our inmost presence. in a clearer form which fills us with joy. So, this is a great discovery. I would like to say that this is the second greatest discovery of the world. The first greatest discovery is yet to come, the discovery of the real soul, self. So, this discovery brought in a complete paradigm shift, as we say. That is, previously their vision was all outward. They were looking for the rain god, for the electrical god, for the water god, for the wind god, for the sun god, for satisfying their desires. And they discovered that by satisfying desires, the mind will never be satisfied. So they started looking inward. This is the great shift in the inquiry and in the research of our rishis, the scientists of our country, thousands and thousands of years ago. They were very sincere. Whatever they would find, they would pursue it. So they pursued it further and looked inward. There comes the birth of the Upanishadic thoughts. The whole thing underwent a shift from the outward looking mind. The mind started looking inward. And they started discovering whatever treasure is there within. And they found that everything we want is there within. And what we call is my I within us, the Pratyagatma, it is not really encapsulated by the body-mind personality. That is, when we are looking for where from the I is coming, we are looking inward. But when we reach that I, there is nothing called inward, outward, because there is no difference at all. There is no subject, object. As long as there is a subject inside, you are looking into the subject, it is inward and all. But when you reach that point, you find that it is that alone. It is the I alone. There is no inward, outward, anything at all. And in that I, that consciousness, the whole universe appears to be, which universe? Of which my body-mind personality is also a small speck. This was the greatest discovery. And it has been, you must have heard about the Mahavakyas. There are 4 Mahavakyas belonging to each Veda. The most subtle Mahavakya, which the physicists now and the scientists also consider, it is the Rig Veda, the oldest Veda's Mahavakya. What is that? Prajnanam Brahma. Brahman, the Brahma, we say, is the ultimate truth. Now, they declared that Prajnanam Brahma. Prajnanam means Prakishta Jnanam. That means knowledge. Can you imagine, thousands and thousands of years ago, our people said that the knowledge is the ultimate building block of this whole universe. It is not a building block, of course. The whole universe is appearing in that consciousness. That is the knowledge. This knowledge is different from all other knowledges we speak about. This is the non-dual knowledge. Non-dual knowledge means in the knowledge where there is no subject-object difference. Suppose I am learning the computer. The computer is different from me. If I learn the computer, I won't become the computer. I am different, the computer is different. I am the subject, the computer is an object. But in this knowledge, the prajnanam, here, I and the jnana, they are not different. That is, anything we learn about the Atma, initially it is different from me. As we are now studying the Upanishad, what is the Upanishad telling us about the Atma? That the Atma is all pervading, it is immortal, it is untainted, it never undergoes any change at all. These are all the characteristics of the Atma. But as we learn about this Atma more and more, what is happening? The I in us, we are associating with that I. That is, we are becoming that Atma slowly. When it is completed, we become that Atma. So here, whatever we are knowing, the knowledge and the knower, they become one. That was the greatest discovery of our country or of the human civilization. That is why this knowledge is even now living. Now, here there are two things. One is that the literature is still living. Another is that this knowledge is a living knowledge. Because we have to, whatever we are learning about the Atma, we have to become that. This living knowledge has to be transmitted from a living person who is living the knowledge. There comes the Guru-shishya Parampara, or the lineage of the Guru and the Shishya. The Guru, who has already identified himself with the real Atma, he lights the lamp in the Shishya, in the disciple. The disciple then, by his sadhana, he ignites that fire more and more and more until he becomes that, and he becomes capable of transferring it to the next generation of the disciples. Like that, all the material things have vanished. We don't know what was there in the Vedic civilization at all. But this true knowledge is propagating even now through the Guru-shishya Parampara, the lineage, the living knowledge lineage, the lineage of living knowledge through the knowers. So, Karmakanda was rituals and practices which were, although they were desire oriented to fulfill their desire, but there also they had an feeling of integrated life. There it succeeded. Suppose they had been selfish in fulfilling their desire, then they would have killed each other, as it happened in the Roman civilization. Here it did not happen like that. That is, we should understand these things. These are very important for the society and for our people to know. That what saved them, although they were also motivated by the desires, but they did not do it being adharmic, flouting dharma. What is the dharma? Dharma is the law of sustenance of nature, law of sustenance of the society, law of sustenance of life. If we flout that dharma, then we kill each other, destroy each other. Dharma eva hato hanti dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. One who preserves dharma, one who protects dharma, he gets protected by the dharma. One who flouts dharma, denies dharma, he gets killed by the dharma itself. That is what is happening. In spoiling nature to increase our profit, to increase our conveniences, to increase our comfort, to increase our selfish grabbing tendency, we have spoiled the nature, spoiled nature. And what has nature done? Not out of revenge, it is natural. We have got back all kinds of diseases, lack of oxygen, smoke and whatnot. We are suffering in that environment we have created. Nature has not given us that environment. So this is where we have not protected dharma. So dharma, we are getting killed by the dharma. So our people, the basic learning was dharma even then. Although they were fulfilling their desires, they were trying to fulfill their desires, but that was not violating the dharma or killing the dharma. That we should understand. Now from there, when they started looking within, that paradigm shift happened, that they found that in both way actually. I am a little hurried because I don't know how much of time I will get and so many things come to mind. There are two kinds of major fulfillment we look for. One is to become happy. Another is the fulfillment of our intelligential part of the being. That is our enquiry. Until we become doubtless about the truth, the enquiry will never be fulfilled. The intelligence will never be fulfilled. So we have emotional fulfillment and we have intelligential fulfillment. So in this discovery of our inner self, two things happened. We discovered that the origin of joy is from the self. So we discovered the source of joy. Once we discovered the source of joy, will we look for joy from outside? Suppose from the tap the water is falling. You know that that water is coming from the tap. So will you drink from the tap, or will you collect the water from the street where the water is flowing down? Will you not have it? If you need water, if you are thirsty, you will drink from the tap. So once they have discovered the source of joy, will they look for joy from outside? They will interact with the world whatever they can, depending on their capability, depending on the need of the world, but never being deluded but that I will become happy by getting this. That is looking for joy from outside. Whenever they need joy, if at all they need, they will have a dip within. They will look for joy from within. So generally in our sadhana chatushtaya, when we explain, it is as uparati. There is a treasure called, all our treasures are internal treasure called uparati. That means we no longer indulge in outer enjoyments. We no longer indulge in external enjoyments. Why? Because they become atmarati. Atmarati means they discover that the joy lies in our soul. So naturally they will always revel in the joy coming out of the soul, which does not depend on anything at all. So their joy becomes absolutely independent of anything in the world. Even if it is sukha or dukkha, they will course through the dukkha also with the same joy, same placidity from within. They will not try to run away from the dukkha and have some new sukha to have some joy. That means you are still thinking that the joy is outside and you are running away from something and running after something. They have discovered the joy in the soul. So remaining anchored in the soul, they do everything out of joy, not looking for joy. This is such a great change in life. You cannot imagine the whole life. It's wrong to call it just a paradigm shift. The whole life undergoes a drastic change where you no longer and that is the way you can interact best with the world. You can perform best. You can make everybody else happy. You can make the whole world, serve the whole world from the point of view, from the standpoint of joy, your own joy, not looking for joy from anybody. So this was a great discovery which fulfilled them emotionally. When we have discovered the source of joy, will you look for any other fulfillment from outside? That is why Bhagavad Gita says, Yam labdhva chaparam labham manyate nadhikam tataha. By getting which they don't consider anything else to be a greater gain. Now, the other part of it is the fulfillment of the intelligential part of our being. That also happened through that, because they found the answer to all their queries in the discovery of the soul. As I said the other day, may not be yesterday, maybe earlier, that when you understand the world to be, everything in the created world is linked by causality, you look for the cause of the world also. Soon to discover, if you are sincere in your logic, you understand that there is a flaw in this causal logic. This causal logic is called parinama srishti. That is, in creation, always something is dying and something is getting born. What is dying is the cause, and what is getting born is the effect. Suppose I burn this book, the ash will be born and the papers will die. Any cause and effect means the cause becomes the effect. So the cause dies and the effect is born. Now this causal logic, if you take to any extent, suppose you find out B is the cause of A, then what is the cause of B? C is the cause of B, then what is the cause of C? D is the cause of C. Like that you can go on any extent. Say you reach Z. You will ask, what is the cause of Z? Will you not? This logic will make you ask for the cause ad infinitum. Any extent you go, it will not satisfy you. He will look for, suppose God has created the universe, naturally the genuine inquiry, if you are inquiring genuinely, you will ask, who has created God? Where from did God come? That question will be there. So in logic it is called, our Sanskrit it is called anavastha dosha, and in English we call it infinite regression. That means infinite regression means you can go to any extent. This causal chain is never going to end. Anavastha dosha means you never get a platform, a substratum where you can stand and say that from here the world has come. The question will be, where from did the substratum come? Now, this is the logic of the objective world based on duality. That is always, I am the subject, I am looking at the world. So, I am the subject and world is the object. That duality is basic duality. Now, what I said, when they went inward, they finally discovered the soul. They had crossed the subject-object duality also. That is the non-dual discovery. It is beyond the subject-object level. Suppose, what else is there other than the objective universe? If you ask, well, the universe is revealed by the consciousness. That is the subject. Then where from is the subject come? Did the subject come will be the question. But we discovered that this I is not an object to be inquired into like that. It is not part of the universe. The whole universe as if appears in the subject. Now there, naturally we have to, the further question will be then, that if this universe does not have any cause, if the soul or the consciousness is the substratum of the universe on which the universe is appearing, if there is no cause for it, then how can it cause the universe? We are calling that the soul is the cause of the universe. So naturally, soul is not the cause of the universe is the ultimate answer. The causality logic fails there. This causality is applicable only in the dual world. To go to the ultimate truth, by definition also, you have to go beyond the duality, beyond this causal chain. And then what is this Srishti? There comes your Maya and all that ideas. The idea of Maya and all never be clear unless we understand this failure of the causal chain. That the whole appearance, generally in any causal creation, there is something which is getting changed into the effect, cause and effect chain. That we have gold, with that we are making the ornament. Gold is the cause, the ornaments are the effects. Now, this is called Parinama Srishti. There is a material, suppose hydrogen molecules are there, hydrogen molecules are getting fused and helium is born and the radiation is born. So the effect is helium and radiation, and hydrogen is the cause. Everywhere there is a change. Everything is changeful in this creation. The objective creation, then there cannot be anything which is unchanging, which is immortal, which is imperishable. It's a wrong notion if you think that we will discover the imperishability in this objective universe. It's not possible. Any creation means it will undergo change and finally die. So, what can be the solution then for the intelligence? That this world is not a parinama srishti. It is not that God took some material from here and strewn it around and created the universe. No, it's not like that at all. The whole universe is an appearance in the consciousness. There is nothing other than the consciousness. And in the consciousness, the universe is appearing to be. So it is an apparent creation. It is called Vivatta Srishti. Vivatta word is used in our scripture. Vivatta Srishti. It is not a Parinama Srishti. Now, in this discovery of the non-dual state lies the whole crux of the matter. See, if they had not experimentally discovered this non-dual state, which we call Nirvikalpa Samadhi, if they had not discovered this state, this enquiry would not have been satisfied at all. They would never have been fulfilled. The question would have remained, because we are bound by the causality and duality. So this discovery, it fulfilled them emotionally by discovering the source of joy. They understood that the joy is the source of the whole creation itself. They sang Anandadhyeva Khalvimani Bhutani Jayante. Anandena Jatani Jivanti Anandam Pravishanti Avisam Vishanti. The whole creation is born of Ananda. It lives in Ananda. Without Ananda, it cannot survive. And when it dies also in Ananda and finally gets dissolved in Ananda. That is why they become fearless about death and destruction. They discovered that there is joy in death also. Wherefrom the Upanishad is giving us that courage, giving us the strength. Because there is no fear about anything at all. This is the abode of fearlessness, where he discovered the non-dual truth, that Ananda is the basis of Janma as well as Mrityu. The Ananda is the basis of creation as well as destruction. That is why our artists drew the Nataraja, the dance of Nataraja, dance of Shiva, who is considered to be the Lord of destruction. He is also dancing. It's in joy. It's a sort of a joyful dance that our artists were very much engrossed in it, in picturing it. That is why the other day I said that all our art, culture, song, music, everything is based on this fundamental truth of unity in diversity, in the oneness of our existence everywhere. Once we discovered this, and it is not really oneness, it is transcendentalness. When we say one something, we have the concept of two and many also. Here, the concept of two is not there at all. This oneness is the transcendental oneness. So we call it non-dual. Our Vedanta is not called monism. Monism means those who are Ekeshwaravadi, that is, they believe in one God. That is called monism. Vedanta is non-dualism. It is not monism, entirely different from that. Non-dualism means transcendental. It is beyond the duality. That the whole truth of that lies in the experience of the non-dual knowledge, non-dual truth, or the Nirvikalpa Samadhi there. That is doubtless Samadhi. Vikalpa means doubt, Nirvikalpa means doubtless. That one has to become doubtless about the truth for this intelligential fulfillment. There comes the Upanishads. Now, when they started looking within and discovered the truth, in the process, whatever they have and whatever they tried to declare this truth to everybody, they were so joyous after discovering this. That is the satisfaction, that is the last word in the life of a human being. So they started propagating it everywhere. To whom? Very few people will be interested, because people are by and large engrossed in their, in Kathopanishad it says, Majjanti Manava. Majjanti means we are completely immersed in that. Suppose we are immersed in the water, we will not know that there outside there is air. If the head is outside and the body is inside water, then we will know that, oh, there is air, there is infinity, the sky, infinite sky. So we will try to come out of it. But if you are within the water, then we will not know that there is something beyond that. So those who came, they were being given this knowledge through the Gurukula. They would stay with the Guru. They will live their life with the Guru. They will serve the Gurukula. And in the process, living with the Guru, the knowledge will be slowly transferred to them. It's not that they were throughout the day, they were only studying Upanishads or so. You read the Upanishads, you will find that Satyakama comes and finally the Guru accepts in Jabala Satyakama. And what does he ask him to do? He gives him 100 or some cows, a number of cows, and asks him to go on grazing the cows, and told him that you come back till the number of cows become 1,000. Can you imagine how many years it will pass to the cows will breed, and finally when the number of cows becomes 1,000, the Guru is asking you come back to me. And Satyakama did that. When it became Sahasra, he came back to the Guru. Like that, they were living their life within the Gurukula and learning it. We call it in physics and chemistry, there is something called osmosis. You have water inside a tube, and in the next shell, you have salt water. And the two waters are divided by a semi-permeable membrane. You will find after some time the pure water has become salty. That is, the salt molecules will percolate through the membrane and make the other water also salty. Now, you will not know the change. This change takes place absolutely silently in its own manner, following its own law. It is called osmosis. Like that, staying with a person who embodies the qualities, who embodies the truth, who sees nothing but Atma everywhere, through his interactions, through his all talks, words, interactions, what happens is that the truth percolates in the disciple also. Unawares, he doesn't know, his mind starts becoming purer and purer and purer, provided he is receptive. If he is arrogant, if his intelligence is egoistic, if he is arrogant, if he refuses to accept the Guru, then of course this osmosis will not take place. Through Guru Bhakti and the surrender and taking refuge in the Guru, the knowledge percolates, all the qualities percolate into the disciple automatically. And this was our education, because our education was never only giving the students some information. It was not an informative education. It was a character education. Automatically staying in the Gurukula, the student will grow and become a proper human being. That was the idea. Not feeding him with all the Shastras and Vedas and you studied all of them, you have taken by heart and you will be able to recite. That might have happened for few, but generally that was not the purpose. The purpose was to imbibe all the qualities from the Guru and become a replica of him and live the life in that knowledge. That was the idea. Now that is the Jnana Kanda. In the Vedas, the Karma Kanda are the Yaga, Yajna, Acharas, etc. And Jnana Kanda consists of the Upanishads. The number of Upanishads, various data is there, 108, generally they consider more important. There are 200 also. We are not going into that numbers because it hardly matters. Even if we have a few shlokas of one Upanishad, it is enough. We don't need. So normally we deal with Kathopanishad and Mundaka Upanishad. That is more than sufficient. Sometimes from here and there something more. But there are many other Upanishads where the truth is exposed in various ways. Now, these Upanishads consist of the Jnana Kanda, or this Jnana Kanda is called Vedanta. Vedanta means the end of the Vedas, because there is a sequence. You are progressing from the practices based on some belief and all. Then finally you question all your beliefs and you start inquiry. In inquiring after the truth, you have to have a very pure mind and very pure intelligence, because the mind will be haunted by all kinds of desires and remnants of desires and whatnot, all kinds of samskaras, we say, the past impressions and all. And the intelligence also will carry its own backlog, its ego, along with its all wrong conceptions. So the whole process is, by studying the scriptures, you treat your mind, emotion, and intelligence. And that is, it is not just knowing what is there in the Upanishads. If jnana, you feel that it is knowing what is there in the Upanishads, no, it is not at all that. It is becoming what the Upanishad speaks about you, speaks about the Atma. And we use the Upanishads. Even if you study 5, 6 Upanishads, it is only to purify ourselves. That is to purify, it is given a treatment to the mind and intelligence. Undergoing that treatment through the study of the Shastras, the mind becomes pure and the intelligence becomes absolutely sharp, subtle, seeing the truth. The truth dawns in the intelligence. Why should I say intelligence? Because where is the ajnana? Where is the ignorance? The ignorance is lying in the intelligence. So that has to be treated by jnana, knowledge. Where is the ignorance? There we have to apply the treatment. Nobody should have any doubt about it. Intelligence carries the ignorance. So the intelligence has to be treated by knowledge, by the proper wisdom. When the jnana, which we study in Vedanta, it treats the ignorance and removes the jnana removes the ajnana. The knowledge removes the ignorance. When it is done, then you go beyond this jnana and ajnana. You become what you are. That is the ultimate. It is not the jnana. This jnana is necessary to wash yourself, wash the ignorance out of yourself. When that is done, then what you are left with is the ultimate. That is what you are. This is what Vedanta tells us. This only our scriptures, they say that Vedas themselves are to be discarded at one point. Discarded means it goes, that knowledge is beyond the Vedas also. You will find in Mundaka Upanishad, right in the beginning, he says, there are two kinds of vidyas, para and apara. What is apara vidya? Rigvedo, Yajurvedo, Samaveda, Atharva Vedaha. Shiksha, Kalpo, Vyakaranam, Niruktam, Chando, Jyotishamiti. Apara vidya means inferior knowledge. What is the inferior knowledge? All the 4 Vedas and the 6 Vedangas, they are called. 6 kinds of other discipline and all. All of them are apara. Then what is the paravidya? What is the ultimate vidya? He says, tatra para. Then there is something called paravidya. What is that? Yaya tadaksharam adhigamyate. Yaya tadaksharam adhigamyate. By which you attain that, not know, learn and anything like that. Adhigamyate, by which you attain the unchanging truth, which you are. It is not you are gaining something. You are already that. You are the truth. Only that truth is covered by the, as we said, that there are ripples on the surface. Not only that, the water is not pure. It is not clear. So all that water has to be made clear, all the surface waves will have to be subsided. Then you see the bottom as it is, as such. You have not done anything with the bottom of the river or the pond. You have only polished your surface of the water and purified the water, the body of the water. That's all. So this is the Jnana Kanda. And that is what the Upanishads are. I think I can continue because I have to speak something before I address the questions. Are there many questions? Only one question. I will take it. Let me see. I have half an hour more now. Because these things can be spoken about from various sides, various angles, then only it will finally sink in us. So today, although I wanted to present the rationality here, but maybe I will do in another 2 days are there. After that, we will have the satsangs. So in that, I would continue with some Upanishad, and as the mantras come, with that we can always explain. Each Upanishad is set with a certain backdrop. As you find in Bhagavad Gita, the backdrop is the Mahabharata war. Then it is a tremendous activity that we cannot even imagine. It is not like the war now. that the prime minister or the president, they are sitting in their own place. They are mentally will be very much concerned, but bodily they are not in the war field. War field is managed by the military. Those days, the kings, they will have to, the Arjuna had to fight the war himself, standing in the war field. And whom he had to kill with his own hands? He had to kill his most beloved grandfather, most respected teacher, and all other kith and kin. So we cannot even imagine the mindset, the torment it will undergo. So this background has been given for Bhagavad Gita to exemplify that it is not for practicing in the forest, leaving all your activities and remaining in the forest and studying Bhagavad Gita. No. The background speaks clearly that it is something to be applied in the active life. When we are in action, our actions are not so involving as the Mahabharata war. So if in Mahabharata war Arjuna could apply it and Krishna could make Arjuna apply it, then why can't we? We should be able to do it in all our small, which we are saying that we are burnt out. This is a common word everywhere. We are burnt out. Who asked you to get burnt out? It is your way, your own desires. You wanted more and more promotion, more and more money. You could have been satisfied not being burnt out also. Nobody asked you to get burnt out. You can tell your boss as well that, see, this is maximum I can do. More than this, if you expect me, I will have a breakdown. I cannot do more than this. I am a sincere person. I am doing my most. I am performing my most. I can give only this much. Otherwise, either you leave me, I have to go, or I cannot continue like this. Can we not tell? Will the boss not agree? He also is a human being. He has also undergone this pressure. So it is not true that the nature has created this pressure. We are creating our pressure, our tension, our stress, and we are free to get rid of that also. We need not think that I am getting burnt out, I am getting burnt out, what will happen to this, what will happen to that. Whatever work comes, you have only 24 hours a day. A part of it, you have to do other things and all. Whatever hours are there, as long as you are working, you work, whatever output is possible. But you have to be open to the consequence that if my boss gets unhappy, he will be sacking me and I have to accept it. That acceptance should be there. Then there is no problem at all. I don't think we need be so much suffering about the present situation. The suffering is caused by our own mind, our own decisions. Now, so that is the Bhagavad Gita background. In Upanishads, if you look into it, you will not find such an interactive background placed anywhere at all. You will find, suppose, in Mundaka Upanishad, Shaunaka was a great householder. When they say great householder, means he has lived his household life according to the dharma, according to the principles enshrined in the Shastras. We have 4 Purusharthas: Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Purushartha means Purushasya Artha. That means whatever we attain by our self-effort. Paurusha means self-effort, self-will, self-effort. By our Paurusha, whatever we attain is called Purushartha. So, all these 4, actually they are not 4 different. They are all, it is a 4-fold Purushartha. They are all interlinked with each other. The first one is called Dharma. That means knowing the principles of ethics, straightforwardness, behavioral nicety, ecology, everything. Whatever Dharma means, as I said, the law of sustenance of nature, the law of sustenance of life, the law of sustenance of the society. These are all the dharmas. So different people have rajas, have raja dharma, others have their own dharma. Why? Because a person in his place should follow the corresponding laws so that the society and nature as a whole is sustained. So the first Purushartha, we have to go to the Guru and the whole teaching was to know the dharma, the codes of dharma. Now you can easily understand it is not just the information. It is not an informative course like our schools and colleges. You go to the school, learn, the teacher teaches you and goes away. It's not like that. The whole course of dharma is learned remaining with the Guru, undergoing sacrifice, undergoing austerity, undergoing interactions with the co-students and with the Guru. So many, the whole life will be molded there. And there in the Gurukula, the princes, the Raja's children, and the very poor Brahmana's children all were studying together. There no difference was there that this is Raja's children, these are Raja's children, and these are coming from an economic poor background. Nothing like that. So the first lesson of dharma used to be had from the Gurukula. Once you have learned dharma, the next purushartha will be artha and kama, second and third, artha and kama. I always point out that people often criticize us, the spirituality means you always speak about removing desires, removing desires. Is it possible? Our spirituality doesn't say that the desires have to be removed. Then if it is so, then in our fourfold purusharthas, why it is kama is there? Artha and kama are there. Artha means income. That is doing something by which you will gain resources, properties. And kama you fulfill by utilizing those properties. Now, if kama to be shunned right from the beginning, then why should the purushartha contain the third purushartha is kama? The question is that here, the first you have learned the dharma, then you have to build up your resources by following the dharma, not flouting the dharma. So they are not dealing to each other. Learning the dharma, you have to have your income in a righteous manner and spend in a righteous manner. Following with your resources, you have to fulfill your rightful desires, not the absurd desires and harmful desires. Rightful desires following the dharma. Now, there is a great secret in it. When you do it, following the dharma, you fulfill your desires, you will find very soon you have outlived the desires. I will repeat. If people can understand this truth, their life will be so fulfilling. We have to fulfill our desire. And that fulfillment should come in a righteous manner following dharma. We are not following dharma in fulfilling our desires. That is why we are not getting fulfilled. If you fulfill our desires by following dharma, automatically by the time you become 50 or maximum 60, your desires you have already outlived. Then you are supposed to walk out for Banaprastha, which is a preparation for sannyasa. That's the last leg of the life. Now, there, what we have come as a puny human being bound by everything, but our shastras make us go out of the world as a free Brahman, like the God or more than the God, as a free human being who has identified himself with the universal truth of Brahman. That is the idea. So, sannyasa, without sannyasa, the life does not become complete there. Now, even if you don't take sannyasa, you can say that is the knowledge part of it, the spiritual part of it. You have to practice that. Now, we don't have the basis of dharma. We have not undergone the dharmic lesson properly. That is why we are not earning things based on the dharma. We are not fulfilling desires based on dharma. And finally, in spirituality also, we are failing because of lack of the dharmic principles. If you understand the integrated life, human life of human beings on this earth, in this universe, and follow the law of sustenance, then you will find the whole life is a beautiful blossoming of a flower, which finally should scent its fragrance all around for the benefit of everybody and then wither. That is our life. It should not be a flower half blossomed, half eaten away by some insects, and half drying out of lack of water, and then finally somebody cutting it off, chopping it off, and falling off. No. That is the concept of life in our Shastras, where Upanishadic discoveries play a great role. I will take up some more scientific elements as we proceed tomorrow, because we can take it up with the mantras also. Otherwise, nothing of the Upanishads will be studied in 4 days. We have to do that part also. We will do it. What are the questions? After that, I will chant the Shanti mantras. They are a very important part of the Upanishads. I'm ready for questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Swamiji, once again for that very insightful discourse, Swamiji, and exposing us to this knowledge of the truth with such great depth. Thank you, Swamiji. The question today, Swamiji, humble pranam, Swamiji. Swamiji mentioned about having shraddha to the teachings in scriptures, and the point that was made was one should not refute the truth. Swamiji, I'm a bit unclear as to what this refuting means. Does it mean that we should not question what is stated in the scriptures? What does it mean what does having faith mean? And does having faith mean we should not question? Thank you, Swamiji.
I feel like laughing because if you really, the problem is that we really don't sincerely read the scriptures. If you read the scriptures, particularly the Prakarana Granthas, like the other subsidiary scriptures and Upanishads also, you will find they are only questions and questions and only questions. Because that is the best platform, best form of clarifying doubts for people. If only the theory or the truth had been spoken, people would not have been able to understand it well. So our authors, those who have written, they have put down everything in the question answer form. And when you read them, you will find that there is no question left which is not already answered and recorded in the scriptures. When we ask some questions, we may have a feeling that this question has not been asked or it is something new. It is never so. Even the discoveries also, I often say that something, when we think that we have discovered something, that is a way of expression or a truth. Oh, something, suddenly the thought arises and we feel so happy about it. If we are humble, we find that that is already recorded there. So far, we had not discovered, so it had missed my notice. I did not notice that it is already there in the shloka. It's a very great secret that as long as we are not close to the discovery or so, although everything is written in the Shastras, we will miss it. When we have understood the truth, we have discovered the truth in experiment practically or so, we know it, then we understand, oh, here it is spoken, there it is spoken, we can point out then. Like that about questions also. So asking questions is never disapproved or discouraged in our Shastras. Without asking questions, you cannot grow. But what they say is that it should not be with the idea of refuting whatever is said in the Shastras. Refuting means you don't accept what is said in the Shastras. And you want to disprove by your own logic or by your own egoistic logic or understanding or whatever it is. So that kind of argument is not advocated. it should be always in the form of enquiry, not in the form of questioning the truth of it. If whenever we suppose we are not able to understand something, we say that, where am I missing? If this is so and this is this, then I am not able to understand. To me, it is a contradiction. So, can anybody clarify that contradiction? Then the teacher will definitely explain to you that what are the reasons of the contradiction, where we are failing, where we are missing. And these question answers become the treasure for our spiritual literature. You will find everywhere this question answer, question answer. Even in Vivekananda also you will find in the writing that the seekers are questioning and he is replying. In Shankaracharya you will find that even if nobody has questioned, he has put the question from the Pratipaksha. That is, he is explaining something, he knows that the what the other, because Shankaracharya, he had to fight a lot. When Shankaracharya came, he had to fight the karma kandis of the Vedas, those who are only projecting the yaga, yajna and all and denying the Upanishads. And he had to fight the Buddhists also, because that was the whole country was full of Buddhist philosophy. So he has to defeat both. So his writings are full of such arguments. That is, he has proposed something, then he will write what the Buddhist will question or what the Karmakandis will question and then reply that. So wherever there was no question, the author himself will put the question and reply that. So asking question is never discouraged in spirituality. But what they say is that if you beforehand itself, if you have if you refute the truth, that is, you believe that no, this question cannot be answered or this is in the other manner, then nobody can clarify you. That is not the right way for a seeker to grow. That is the Charvaka way, we say. Charvaka way means, see, our Charvakas also were given a great place in our Shastras. Charvaka, the word has come from Charu Vak. That means they are very clever in forming questions and refuting the truth. You will find that there in Ramayana also. When Rama went to the forest, many people, Bharata sent many people to bring him back. So in that group, Charvaka was also there, who would say that, what are you saying, your father's word and Satya and all, there in this world, there is nothing other than only fulfilling your karma, fulfilling your desires, other than we are all born of the parents out of desire only. There is no truth involved, there is no righteousness involved, nothing. So that was the Charvaka way of refuting everything there was. But these Charvakas also were given a position because our truth should win over everything. You will find in Brihadaranyaka, many court assemblies are there where Yajnavalkya is being asked by so many people. The whole assembly is sitting. It's all beautiful stories, of course. Raja Janaka said that, who is the greatest Brahmajna? He had kept, I think, 1,000 cows or so. They were all decorated, ornamented, very costly cows and all. He said, I have kept them for the Shrestha Brahmajna, the best of the knowers. So he called all the knowers of Janakpuri, of Mithila. Everybody gathered there. From outside also many knowers, many scholars will come. And there will be arguments and all. It was meant for that. So there you will find that so many people are asking Yajnavalkya, and Yajnavalkya is patiently replying one after another. Some of the questioners are Gargi Vachaklavi. She was unmarried. She was a lady. But her questions are very important. She said that I have two questions. If Yajnavalkya, you can reply those two, then nobody can deny your Shreshtatva, your supremacy. And Yajnavalkya replied the two. Then Gargi declared that I don't think anybody else is here who can defeat Yajnavalkya. He has replied these two questions. But there were another few who asked some more questions. Said, no, we don't agree. We want this to be known, that to be known. So, Shraddha actually means that we have the definite devotion to the truth, which is not obstructed by the ego. Enquiry should never be hindered by the ego. Then we will never be able to discover the truth. Suppose in science also, if you are doing a research, if you are worried about your getting the PhD degree or some fame or something, often you will not be able to accept the truth properly. It happens. That is, for acceptance of the truth, you need an absolutely impersonal mindset, an inquiring mindset. Inquiry should be absolutely free to know the truth. If it goes against my, suppose those days the arguments, as I am talking about, when Shankaracharya was arguing with Mandana Mishra. Mandana Mishra was a great Karmakandi, and Shankaracharya was representing the Upanishads. So when Shankaracharya was arguing with Mandana Mishra, the condition was that if Shankaracharya gets defeated, then he will have to leave sannyasa and take to the karmakanda and the household ways. If Mandana Mishra gets defeated in the argument, then Mandana Mishra will leave his household and take to sannyasa. And they have to be true to it. There lies the greatness. It is not just drawing room argument that we argue about that and then we go our own way. No. Their argument was not like that. They were following whatever they believed. It's not just a thought for the sake of argument. And you know, in this great argument, who was the judge? How will they know? Two persons are arguing. Who will be the judge? Finally, there was no judge. The fit judge has to be there who can understand. Finally, the accepted judge was Mandana Mishra's wife, his own wife, Ubhaya Bharati. Shankaracharya accepted her as the judge. Do you understand the consequence? Suppose Mandana Mishra gets defeated, then what will happen to Ubhaya Bharati? She will become widow. Shankaracharya will have to take sannyasa. Mandana Mishra would have to take sannyasa then if he gets defeated. And what will happen to Bhai Bharati? In such a situation, can she be a proper judge, a real judge? But they had that kind of a lofty mindset which they accepted, and they had the faith that Bhai Bharati will give the correct judgment. And she did. What happened is that the arguments were going. It was never ending. Then finally, she took to another method of judgment. She said that I am putting flower garment on the neck of both. The person whose garland gets wither first, he will have to accept the defeat. Mandana Mishra's garland withered. Shankaracharya's garland did not wither. So Ubhaya Bharati came and declared Mandana Mishra to be defeated. So Mandana Mishra had to take the sannyasa, become a disciple of Shankaracharya. He is the founder of our Sringeri Mutt, it is said. What is his name? Sureshwaracharya. And about Ubhaya Bharati, many things are written that she also followed as a disciple. Some say that as soon as they came out, her body fell. There are many stories. We don't know very well about that. But Sureshwaracharya took up sannyasa and remained with Mandana Mishra. I don't know whether you get the point that we should have the imagination to understand the sincerity of a spiritual seeker. What kind of a genuine sincerity, the courage, the strength I am talking about, it needs to accept the truth. Otherwise, they will not be able to know the truth. Nobody will be able to accept the truth. You know, in Gaudapada Karika, it is said that yogina vibhyati hyasmat abhaye bhayadarshinaha. That the great yogis, when they finally come near to that non-dual state, they become fearful. So they are not able to have it. Why? Because in the non-dual state, what is happening? The egoistic self which we have been holding on to as I, that egoistic self is getting dissolved in the non-individual infinite self. So they think I am going to die. So they are so much attached that not they, all of us are so much attached to our body, mind, personality that we are not able to accept the truth that the truth is not individualistic. So we will not be able to leave that clinging to our Dehatma Buddhi, it is called body, mind, personality, and get merged into the truth. The kind of courage is necessary. Our Mundaka Upanishad says, Nayamatma balahinena labhya nacha pramadat tapaso vapi alingat. Na ayamatma balahinena labhya. This Atma cannot be had by the weaklings. You might be a first boy in the school. You might have got you might be a Nobel laureate also. But unless you have the courage to accept the truth, to work for the truth, Atma is not for you. Nayamatma balahinena labhya. Nacha pramadat. If you are inattentive, this Atma is there in every perception, it is there. But you are missing it because of the inattention. Nacha pramadat. One who is not able to get out of the inattention, Atma is not for him. Tapaso vapi alingat. You are doing tapasya, but it is an improper tapasya. To know the truth, the Atma, if you stand on one leg, will you know? The knowing is a process of the intelligence. The intelligence has to be purified. The mind has to be purified. The intelligence has to be sharpened. Then only the truth will dawn there. Without doing anything, you are doing some fasting or standing on one leg or lighting fire on four sides and with the sun on top, and you are thinking that you will become a knower. Knowledge will dawn in you. These are all improper tapas. You may do it for your shuddhi, your purification, but the knowledge will not done without not come, without vichara. Vastu siddhir vicharena nakinchit karma koti. Thousands of work you do, crores of work of various practices you do. The truth will dawn only through vichara, the introspection. And it is not an ordinary analysis of the truth done by the intellectuals. It needs tremendous courage. Courage to accept the truth. Courage to accept that you are universal. Not in the sense that the egoistic universal, I am great, I am big. No. Absolutely. That you are zero. The courage to accept that you are a zero. Zero. I have to stop. We will just chant the Shanti mantra of last time. It will take 2 minutes only. Om Sahana Vavatu. Om Sahana Vavatu.
Om Sahana Vavatu.
Sahanau Bhunaktu.
Sahanau Bhunaktu.
Sahaviryam Karavavahai.
Sahaviryam Karavavahai.
Tejasvinavadhitamastu.
Tejasvinavadhitamastu.
Ma vidvishavahai.
Ma vidvishavahai.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Hari